coast is clear, and subjects are ready for action.
Let's get to the mission.
Hey, my name is Marnie Wooldridge, and I'm the director and writer of the upcoming episode that we're so excited for you to see. It is called Think Truth Today. It's a cast full of young adults and adults that are excited to press forward this message of abstinence. And we are raising the standard, and hopefully we'll reach hundreds and thousands of people stating that you too can abstain. We're going to give you tools, knowledge, and insight that you don't have to follow what media is saying, what music is saying, and maybe even what your neighbor next door is saying or doing. I live in Camden. I have an undergraduate degree in theater with the emphasis of strength training. I have my master's from Texas Women's University in dance with the emphasis of strength training as well. I've been writing plays off and on for years. I dance with a company in Houston, Texas called His Company International, and my heart is to use the arts, acting, singing, dancing, to bring forth positive messages that will make a change, not go against or not go with the regular flow of society, but to make a rebellious change in the positive realm. So we're excited about what's going to happen. We hope that you will tune in and learn and grow and see each series as we continue on. Thank you.
Hey ladies, I'm so glad y'all could all make it today. How's everybody doing? Good. So I need y'all to keep it 100.
Is this for real?
It should always be for real.
Always when we meet up.
Well then, don't ask Johanna.
Hey, I can be real and honest, just maybe a little on the dark side.
Girl, when will you see the light?
So, Liza, topic today is...
Oh yeah, Miss Thomasina, thank you so much for letting us use Bebe's salon to discuss While We Get Beautiful.
Oh baby, no problem. We're excited to have you all here with us today.
She just totally ignored me. Liza, topic today is...
I'm sorry, Cadence. Our topic today is abstinence.
Talk to me, Mom. I want to know. My life depends on it.
Victoria's sex is a hard topic for some parents to talk to with their children. But Victoria, let's start talking.
Hey, Jay, thanks for letting us use this time.
Ain't no problem.
Today we're going to be talking about restraining in the topic of sex.
What?
Oh, man. Yeah. I know it may sound challenging, but all the more it needs to be discussed. Many boys and men need to learn how to restrain. Just because a desire or feeling is there doesn't mean we have to act on it. We're part of a group called Impact that has been going around different parts of Camden speaking on the issue of sex among youth and young adults. We also have a phone number you can text us at, which is 803-420-7578. Please keep it clean.
What's the topic?
Sex or not sex? That is the topic.
Wow, we can talk on this forever.
Okay, what is restraint? Oh, and this is the prophet. He's our source of information.
What's up, Jay?
He helps us keep it real. He's our source of information. Who knows what restraints is?
Staying off my computer or phone, that's more like the impossible.
It means holding yourself back for something you really want to do. Or in the past, it meant not taking someone out.
Pepe, let me hold your computer.
Nah, that's alright.
No, seriously.
I don't let anyone touch my computer or phone.
I'm waiting.
Wait. Restraint. A measured condition that keeps someone or something under control or with limits. So I would say right now, my main man Mason, needs to show some restraint. Show some self-control. This computer came to be because of many years of work around the home. Birthday and Christmas money. We don't part.
Pepe, son, just give it to him.
Oh my goodness.
Man, you gotta calm down. Hey, give me that, son.
Whoa, what are you doing, Prophet? I'm not the violent type. We just asked for a deputy.
Calm down.
Whoa, easy, Tiger. Who are you talking like the mafia? Let's all put our phones on the table.
A little more. Where you headed, man?
Nowhere. Just like everything else.
Like what?
You wouldn't understand.
Oh, come on now. Put me to the test. Come on. Try me.
What age is it okay to have sex? Kids and teachers at school are already saying you'll know when you're ready.
Do you think you're ready?
I don't know.
Well, then for sure you're not ready.
But
can you take care of another human being?
no.
All right. Look, sex is a beautiful thing. But it was first put here so that we can procreate. And can you financially support a baby?
I still live at home.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. But look at it this way. Take my advice. You know, sex is a beautiful thing. But it's best if you wait until you get married. You'll have plenty of time to go ahead and have sex and enjoy those things. But you got to be married when you do this. You're going to enjoy it so much more if you wait. And you'll have plenty of time to do it. Lots of time.
Okay, Dad. Okay.
Well, you don't think the start word you do?
Okay.
Come on, man. Let's go ahead and talk. I know this ain't the easiest conversation, but it's all good, man. It's all good. Everything don't begin that way or end that way, but, you know, it was kind of awkward, but, you know, it's plenty to learn about this, and we're going to go ahead and I'm bring you up to speed on it, all right, man?
Thank you. That was so nice. Oh, hello. I'm Justice. Sorry, it's just that doesn't happen often.
And I'm Prophet.
Excuse me one moment. I honestly believe that what you just did is like a lost art or a lost act of chivalry that truly needs to be recaptured.
What?
See, you're so used to it, you don't even know the good you did. And sometimes that's how it is with the bad that we do as well. We're here at Impact today to look at what we do and what we don't do and the difference that it makes. We're here to look at how our actions impact our society. So as a primary example, what you just did, the good you did and how it made me feel, how it made me smile.
What did I do?
You pulled out my chair. It may seem like nothing today, and to many women it makes them feel uncomfortable, but it goes back to what I said. It's like it's a lost art or a lost act of chivalry. Oh. You know what? I'm so sorry. I hear it. Wow. We already got a text. Okay. Okay, this young lady is saying that to her, it's like the man thinks that she's weak or not capable. You know, and it's just the opposite. You meant it as an act of kindness.
Oh, to me, it's an opportunity where I can serve you. We both know that you're a very capable and successful woman, but it actually boosts my morale as a man to be able to help. For those of y'all who don't know, this is Justice. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her. She's a speaker and leader on the subject of sexual risk avoidance in Think Truth Today. She's one of the words out there in the streets, businesses, schools, and anyone else will have her to be able to discuss sexual risk avoidance.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to this. Prophet, he helps us keep it real. Basically, from the streets, from the jails, but he helps us to bring in from the shadows and from what's behind the scenes. So I'm glad you're here today. It's an awesome thing to have him with us. He had an encounter that radically changed his life.
Well, I'm glad to be a part and hopes to help as many individuals as possible.
It's gonna happen.
It's
all right.
I had an opportunity and it changed me. So I hope this opportunity I can give this opportunity and it helps as many people as possible.
Yes.
Hundreds, maybe even thousands.
Yes.
Everyone, please take the time and text in your thoughts and visit our website, www.thinktruthtoday.com.
So let me explain to y'all that don't know about the texting. We're asking all to text in their thoughts and their comments to 803-420-7578. But keep it clean. So we, Impact, are here to take a warrior stance, y'all, on to sex or not to sex. When is it safe to have sex? When is it not safe to be sexually active? We're here to take a warrior stance to really talk about the power of healthy choices. Healthy choices today. Whether we make a healthy choice or not, it determines your today, it affects your tomorrow, it determines what's going on for the rest of your life.
Justice, I'm here for many parents to question, how did we get here? When did something that was supposed to be good and shared between a husband and wife become a subject turned into leading the national conversation?
I hear you.
Let's all talk about the talk.
Talk to me, Mom.
Talk to me, Dad. We want to be prepared. Why didn't you tell me?
Where were you? I tried to talk.
Let's all talk about the talk.
So this is personal. It's real for me. A still story of ill glory Ricard seemed to deal poorly. Because 3 months ago was my wedding day. And I got to look at my wife-to-be and tell her that she wasn't worth the wait. And it hurt me. Because it shows she wasn't worthy of waiting. And sometimes I think maybe this all would have been different if I had been taught healthy dating. And I'm just saying, it's hard to stay pure when you're living in hell. Where the media uses sex to sell us, no wonder that's where our thoughts dwell. Because everywhere I look, I see naked bodies. Fake hotties photoshopped to make us hate our bodies. Unrealistic standards higher than the ceilings, plastered over magazine covers with zero regard for our feelings. I may not have a rock hard body, I may not be 100% defined, but at least I still have my mind. At least I know it's not about what I show, but what's inside. You see, we tell models and musicians to be more thin for the best shows. And then we wonder why our kids idolize people who show more skin and less clothes. It's gotta be because we no longer teach modesty. So the idea of covering up is going extinct like a politician with honesty. And guys, honestly, your masculinity is not dependent upon your ability to have sex with everybody you see. In fact, the real man is one of humility, who's willing to wait for his wife to be. But here's the thought. Maybe we would see less unborn babies perish if abstinence was something we would cherish. But instead we decide to make fun of people who wait till marriage. That's backwards. And I lack words for the guys that think that they have to sleep with everybody that they please, because it's almost a guarantee that at some point they've encountered a sexually transmitted disease and no thanks, but I'll pass. I want a relationship that'll last, even if it means me being harassed. You see, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes too. But I just want everybody to be able to look back at the decisions they've made and say that they've been made new. You don't have to do what's cool. You don't have to do what's relevant. We all can treat everybody like a jewel, and we could choose to be intelligent. You don't have to sleep around. You could avoid a pregnancy scare. You don't have to consider abortion as if that baby wasn't meant to be there. You see, I've slipped up too. But every single one of us can make a decision to renew our purity. You could set aside insecurity and pick up some maturity. The media is always going to push an unhealthy image of sex in order to sink the youth away. But each and every one of us can avoid making mistakes tomorrow if we think truth today.
Amen. Hi, my name is Alexis, and I'm from Think Truth Today that airs on Spectrum Channel 7. And we're out here today asking people questions about dating and relationships. And I was wondering if it was okay if we filmed you today.
Absolutely. All right. At all.
Good. Well, the first question I want to ask you is, what is it that you expect from a dating relationship?
Okay, well, as far as what I would expect from a dating relationship in our culture right now, it would be maybe a guy pursuing me. There are things about me that he, thinks he likes, but he's going to kind of keep one foot in, one foot out, just in case he decides he doesn't really like me. Comparable to what people have referred to as our microwave culture. We want what we want it now. We don't want to have to cook it for 7 hours unless it's in a crock pot and it's hands-off and easy. So we kind of expect things to be easy, and we have this mentality of, well, if it's not making me happy and it's not serving my best interests, then it's not for me. However, what I would expect personally, because my faith is my #1 priority, I would want a man who seeks the Lord's opinion about it first, and who has the ideal that if it's something that God has directed in his life, it's a commitment, and so therefore having one foot out the door and having backup plans is not an option. And fortunately, very fortunately for me, that's what I got when my husband and I first started seeing each other. I had the advantage of knowing that he was someone who would pray about stuff like this before he would just pursue it. And he actually later told me he had prayed for like a whole year before he ever laid out his intentions. The other thing I would expect is that someone would lay out their intentions and say, hey, I want to get to know you. I don't want to just play with your heart. I don't want to, just go by my feelings alone and then be wishy-washy. And, even if it's my heart that's hurting, I end up hurting your heart in return. I would expect it to be someone who says, we're just going to get to know each other. We're going to be careful. We're going to try to keep it clean, I understand everybody has their faults. Like, we have so many rules, especially like every generation is like a pendulum that swings from this to this and back here and back here. When ideally what we would do is eliminate the either the legalism or the greasy grace, as we call it, from the picture, and take the best of each side of that pendulum to strike that balance. Yeah. So there are things in our grandparents' culture that were traditional, they were of value, and maybe there was some legalism, but the reason it got that way is because people were trying to be disciplined with it. They had good intentions. And then here we have our generation on the other side that has great intentions, but we're a little too whiny, I guess, about it. Like, oh no, this doesn't suit me and serve me, and then maybe I don't want it. We're too wishy-washy. So as far as that goes, the ideal dating or courtship relationship would be one that constantly looks at the heart. I think that if you're going to keep your priorities in order, you constantly have to keep yourself in check. Am I being legalistic about it? Because Jesus said it's about the heart. If a man even looks on a woman in lust, he's already done it. Now, obviously, physically that hasn't happened, but I think what Jesus was trying to get the Pharisees to understand when he said that was, it's about what comes out, what your action, what you produce with your actions is coming from what's inside of you. And you can have the right actions all day long, but if you have the wrong heart about it, it's still wrong. And so I think that is the ideal. I would say my model is closer to courtship, but I don't care what you call it. If you are constantly trying to keep yourself in check, what are my motives here? Is this are we developing a healthy relationship? We're getting to know each other, and are we connecting spirit first, then soul, then body in the right context? Everybody falls, everybody stumbles, everybody makes mistakes, but it's two people giving 100%. Both give 100%. It's not 50-50 because we're not a very good judge of our 50% versus another person's 50%. That makes sense.
So here's another question. You talked about somebody being spiritually grounded and having that belief. What if you meet somebody and they meet all the criteria? They treat you kindly, you guys connect on a mental level, but they don't have that spiritual belief. Then what?
Okay, well, I've experienced that too. Actually, the last person I dated before I got together with my husband. And I was kind of in a spiritually dry place, and I mean, we connected on a lot of levels, but not spiritually. And to this, I would say it's not a mere discipline as far as understanding what's really important, because marriage isn't chemistry. Marriage is taking out the trash, washing the dishes, you know, smelling each other's bathroom visits. It's reprimanding the kids, and how are you going to, you know, reprimand them? So I don't think it's necessary so much to just say, oh, we got to, you know, just be completely practical about it, no emotion. But I think that when your priorities are in order as far as what actually matters in a healthy relationship, you know, you're going to have to connect there first, essentially, is what I'm saying. And honestly, if you connect with someone, you have a chemical connection with someone, all these other, you know, things in common, but you don't have that spiritual grounding. And so let's say, okay, theoretically, for people who are not Christian, who don't believe the same thing, as far as their intuitive self, their real self, their core self, if you just simply like the idea of the feeling that relationship gives you, you're headed for disaster, and it's not worth it. But so many times we're not going to really know that. We might know it in our head. We're not going to really know it in our heart until we experience it for ourselves. And this is where I say God likes to use the scars in your life to accomplish His purposes, even when maybe what we do and say and think isn't exactly what He would have us do and say and think. He is still going to use that to accomplish whatever purpose He is trying to do in our lives.
Gotcha. So if I'm with somebody and I don't feel like we're connecting on a spiritual level, how long do you think is reasonable to give it before I say, it's not working, let's walk away?
So this is a tricky question, because there are times where we could use someone's shortcomings once we get familiar with them to say, maybe they're not spiritually where I thought they were, let me just walk away. And there's that option, that opportunity for the culture that we've grown up in to influence our decision and commitment. And so as far as that goes, my first instinct is to be like, if I'm starting to date a guy, we haven't been together very long, we're just getting to know each other, and I see that we are, I don't think we have to be perfectly spiritually on the same level, but definitely headed in the same direction, and definitely a comparable spiritual maturity level, or, you know, core self maturity level for those who may not be Christian. I think that I would probably just be like, I'm not wasting my time, not wasting your time, you know, like if that doesn't line up, then it doesn't matter what else does line up. However, when it comes to my husband, once we got married, you know, I could have said, oh my gosh, I see all these shortcomings that I didn't see before, and I'm just not willing to deal with that. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into. Well, see, that's where covenant comes in. If you look at Genesis, where, I'm sorry, it may not have been Genesis, it's Abraham I'm thinking of, and I wanted to say it was Adam. It was Abraham. The Lord with Abraham, He performed a ceremony where it was their legal contract for a covenant, okay? There were a couple things significant in the Jewish culture here. One being that the instigator of the covenant is bound by it, whether or not the recipient and the person agreeing to the covenant stays in it or honors it. So in this ceremony, and it's kind of weird to us, so I'm not going to explain what the ceremony was, but check it out. But when God made the promise, the famous promise He made to Abraham that he would father many nations, He performed that legal contract ceremony that they used to essentially say through his actions, not just his words, I'm in this covenant whether you are or not. And so ultimately, that's what we're going for.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. That was a really good conversation. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Continues, so do different wars. Some of our biggest battles have derived from religion, government, sex, and sexuality. We have national wars, governmental wars, policy wars, election wars over each country, to each state, to each city. Each war becomes more hostile with these same topics. Battles have been here since before creation.
Today, one of our biggest battles that come to us in several different forms is sex. Sex is necessary for creation to continue. Sex was meant for the good of humanity, but just like anything else, it has its own precinct. Once this precinct or boundary is crossed, many end up overdosing. Without following the correct course of action, some fall into imprisonment and others receive the death penalty.
Traditionally, in early American history, the home was the place where discussion of sex took place. And even then, the conversation tended to be minimal. Usually a mix of practical, physiology, and moral instruction, grounded in religious standards. Today, in the 21st century, the actual discussion of sex is in the school system. Homerooms to the dining room table or TV is openly conversed without remaining in the appropriate precinct.
The respect for what sex was meant to be for has been destroyed. Now we are reaping the penalty of broken boundaries, redefined sexual intent, early sexual freedom, which is now an oxymoron.
We are sorry for over 100 years of breaking down morality in this country we call free.
We are sorry we no longer work together to make sure you are safe and protected from harm.
We are sorry we left you alone to raise yourself with television, computer, and internet as your guardians.
We are sorry we have allowed you to be exposed to things you are not mature enough to handle and have led you to believe you are.
We are sorry that we stopped being parents and guardians in order to become your friend.
We are sorry we left you vulnerable to sexual predators, to quote-unquote friends who saw you as sexual objects instead of as little girls and little boys to be protected.
We are sorry we taught boys to take advantage of you, lie to you and use you, not treat you as their sisters.
We are sorry we trusted older boys to date you, who are among at risk of passing STDs to you.